Hello, everyone. This is Professor Hasselman, and in this week's lectures and discussions and readings, you're going to be learning about some new directions in thought and culture. Now, the Renaissance paved the way for the emergence of a rational and secular worldview in Europe in the late 1600s. The scientific revolution and the Enlightenment represented the culmination of the shift from the medieval era to the modern world. Scientific revolutionaries overturned the authority of medieval and classical sources, such as Aristotle and Ptolemy, in an attempt to understand and explain man in the natural world according to mathematical reasoning. For example, the Polish astronomer Nicholas Copernicus asserted that we live in a heliocentric cosmos, and Isaac Newton proposed a set of universal laws that claimed we live in a mechanical universe, or a cosmos governed by the same mathematical laws of gravity on Earth. Now, meanwhile, political philosophers of the Enlightenment emphasized reason as the primary source of legitimacy and authority. Now, studies examining the origin of political authority and the progress of society had a fundamental impact upon the political development of Europe. Now, in this unit, we'll study how and why Enlightenment manifested itself throughout Europe in philosophy, science, art, and even in absolutist monarchies. And as you're doing the reading for this section, please also make sure that you're doing the reading from Neil Ferguson's The West and the Rest. In one of his chapters in the book, he talks specifically about science. And I'll remind you of a couple things that he had to say about this very topic. Now, on page 13 in his introduction, Neil Ferguson, of course, lists the 6 killer apps of why the West was able to be so successful during this time period. And under the section on science, it says his topic is science, a way of studying, understanding, and ultimately changing the natural world, which gave the West, among other things, a major military advantage over the rest. So according to Neil Ferguson, the science that had been brought forth during this time period, not only in the Enlightenment but the scientific revolution as well, focused mainly on the development of military infrastructure. And just as a reminder, he also says on page 13, he goes, I want to show that it was not just Western superiority that led to the conquest and colonization of so much of the rest of the West. It was also the fortuitous weakness of the West's rivals. And as you're reading this chapter, chapter 2 on science, it's important to pay attention to not just why the West was successful in terms of its scientific achievements, but why the rest of the world lacked in its desire or ability to move forward in science. He says on page 57 of the text, in the 15th century, as we saw earlier, political and economic competition had given the West a crucial advantage over China and other parts of the world. And by the 18th century, its edge over the Orient was a matter as much of brain power as of firepower. So again, focusing, as he says on page 84, this killer application of science had given the West a truly lethal weapon, accurate artillery. So we often think of science as kind of opening the minds of different groups of people and having them look at the world differently. But according to Neil Ferguson, science specifically focused on the development of military infrastructure. And on page 95, wrapping up the chapter, he points out a very interesting aspect of this killer app as well. He says, today then, more than 3 centuries after the siege of Vienna, which is talked about in chapter 2, the key question is how far the West is still capable of maintaining the scientific lead on which, among many other things, its military superiority has so long been based. Or, perhaps the question would be phrased differently, can a non-Western power really hope to benefit from downloading Western scientific knowledge if it continues to reject that other part of the West's winning formula, which he'll talk about in the next chapter, the idea of property rights and the rule of law and representative government. So as you read through chapter 2 of this book and you do the other readings, one of the things to think about is, how important is the development of science during this time period? And as you complete this unit, you should successfully be able to define the major causes and features of the Enlightenment, identify the long-term changes brought about by the scientific revolution, and describe the nature of enlightened monarchy. And when we talk about the long-term changes both brought on by the scientific revolution and the Enlightenment, it's important to notice and to identify not just the positive, but maybe some of the negative that came about during this time period.